Please welcome to the stage from BBVA Design Senior Manager Andrés Botero.
Hello, everyone. I don't know you, but before the pandemic, I used to go to the office every day, Monday to Friday. And you probably did as well. Because COVID-19 was a huge disruptor to change many things that we know today. Let's talk about another example. If I wanted to get some prescription, I could get an appointment online to see my doctor, but then I would need to go in person to see the doctor to his practice, right? Today, if you have private insurance, you can get the appointment online. You can jump onto a video call in 15, 30 minutes with any doctor all over Spain. And you can get your prescriptions digitally, which you can then carry on your phone to the next pharmacy to get your meds. And it sounds like the future, right? But the thing is that before the pandemic, we already had the technology to do this. But somehow we didn't really do it. So many basic services were forced to become digitized because of the pandemic. You know what else changed? Because of the pandemic, AI, global AI adoption became huge. And we've been talking about AI in many different talks today, and we will be probably talking about AI for years to come. So it's becoming so important, and we believe this is also a big disruptor that's going to happen today. So we can talk about how many companies, the largest, the biggest tech companies in the world, are developing AI as we speak. And also, we can see how many companies, probably the company you work for, is thinking today about how we can get AI and embed it into our products and services so we can offer a different value for our customers, to make their lives easier, to help them invest, to help them understand how to learn languages, whatever, right? I'm not here to talk about AI, but I'm here to talk about change. You know what else changed after pandemic? Investments. In 2019, in Spain, we had roughly 1,600 people investing, individuals investing on the market daily. And when the pandemics came, and we went under lockdown and 2020 happened, this number went up to 9,000 people, individual investors, investing on the market daily. That's an amazing increase. Why did that happen? Even if these numbers are from Spain, this phenomenon is actually global. It means that we know now that a big bunch of people that started investing did it in 2020. So that's interesting. Because why did that happen? We've been trying for so long, banks, to convince people that investing is actually a good thing for yourself. And it's been so hard to do because I remember going to users and asking them about investment prior to the pandemic and getting from people the same answer. Investing is too complex, investing is too risky, and if you want to invest, you need to have a lot of money. So it was really hard. So we were trying to understand why so many people started investing in 2020. And we started going through the logical assumptions, well, we now have some players who are making available investments for everyone. They are lowering the entry barriers so everybody can invest from any amount of money so they can do it, and it's free for everybody so they can invest, right? These players were already in the market before the pandemic. So when the pandemic came, they were already available for you to start investing. That could be one reason. There was another one, which is we went under lockdown, so we were not spending as much money as we used to. We were not traveling. We were not going out to eat with friends and family. So we ended up saving a lot of money. So we had excess money that we could invest. And that could be a reason. There's a window of opportunity when you are at home, you get a lot of information over the internet, and you have players giving you access to financial tools. So maybe you start investing for that reason. But also, we wanted to approach this in a different way. So we wanted to gather different information so we could get a new perspective on this, right? And we started asking ourselves, is this the the usual investor that we usually have? Is this the people that we used to know? Is it people that we've been serving products and services and tools for many years? So we wanted to see this a little differently. And this is the place where we try to combine two different ways of doing it. One is, yes, let's try to understand the context of people, what's happening today in the most logical reason, but also let's try to understand how change has been happening and add it up to 2020, so these people started investing. So I'm going to show you, and the idea is not to get into the detail of these slides, it's there for you to read, but it's about the different information that we started collecting. So we began scanning the horizon, collecting signals of change, trying to understand how people behave and how that behavior has been changing over time, and how maybe all of these combined could be the reason why so many people start investing. So we found interesting things that could change that conversation going on. One is that suddenly we are much more hedonistic, right? We believe much more in the moment. We believe much more in our emotions, our boundaries. So we prioritize ourselves before anything else. And that's interesting because that's challenging many preconceived ideas about things in general, but also about the future. But also, there's a lot of people desperate to be successful in a different way. Like, if you are over 15 and you haven't started 2 companies or invested in crypto, you're probably already late. And we see all these success stories of people that have made it because they were smart enough and they knew where to invest, etc. So we get all these self-proclaimed gurus telling you the secret recipe for you to start investing. Maybe you need to understand that NVIDIA is the hottest action stock right now. Maybe you need to understand that Bitcoin is going to somehow kill the fiat money. So there's this feeling that we are not trusting the system and that everything depends on us. So as you can see, we started having a different conversation than we had before. It was not about being happy because we were getting so many new customers that suddenly wanted to invest, which is something that we've been pursuing for so long. But in fact, it was about having the conversation about, hey, we believe that the idea of the future as a hopeful thing, as something to hope for, is actually broken. People feel disenchanted about the future, so they are trying to survive. And surviving involves being present in the moment, enjoying yourself, but also involves hacking the system, not trusting what the system is offering you, but trying to find a way to actually just go above it. But also understanding that this is generational change, social change, behavioral change. It's a change in values. It's a different generation. So most of these people, these new investors, are actually Gen Z and millennials. So that was interesting. So this allows us to change the perspective and reframe the problem in a different light. It's not about having a conversation about how can we get together as a product team so we can serve this new wave of customers that we've been waiting for so long. It's more about how do we deal with these changes and how can we provide people with a more hopeful outlook to the future. And this is where futures comes in. And I think futures are important because we work in the dictatorship of now. So we are very well equipped and trained to understand the now of people. But we don't really ask ourselves, what if? And that's an interesting question to be able to solve many different challenges. But also, futures and design are important because I strongly believe that designers are super well equipped and trained and experienced to tackle these challenges and to be able to get all those abstract ideas about the future and make them tangible, easier to grasp, easier to experience. It's like getting in the DeLorean from Back to the Future, being able to travel 30 years into the future and be able to bring back some of those artifacts, objects, stories about the future so we can have the conversation today. What if? And that's important for design, I think. But I know what you're thinking. maybe we've been talking about all the different challenges that we have as designers in organizations, and the larger the organization, the harder it is to be a designer. So you probably have many other battles that you have to fight for, right? And believe me, we also have those battles. Even for BBVA, which is an organization where design is very mature, we also have those battles. But allow me to tell you the story of how, in 3 steps, we kickstarted the foresight practice so we could tackle these challenges using a different thinking. Step 1. You need to acquire the knowledge. You probably know about it. You probably read a book. You have probably attended some training. If not, today, this is easier than ever. There's so many people out there today sharing knowledge about foresight. There are so many resources, books. I mean, this year, 2024, we've seen 4 or 5 books coming out. Books about design and futures in organizations, guidebooks, playbooks, and people sharing their knowledge for free. Because we want this to happen in organizations. But don't stop at learning, because learning is only one step of this process. You need to put that into practice. And how do you do that? Just start your own practice. Just fund a trends observatory in your organization. We did this. And let's demystify this. It's nothing super sophisticated. You just need to start collecting signals of change. What is that? Is all of those events, all of those articles, products, laws that are coming out today, there are measurable, there are facts that help you to understand what's going on in the world in different dimensions, socially, economically, politically, environmentally, legally, etc., right? And as you collect those, get together with somebody from your team, best if you get 2 or 3 people around you to help you out, and start analyzing those signals so you can start practicing how to be able to see and identify patterns of change, how you are able to see and understand trends. And then those trends are going to be the fuel for you to be able to tackle those conversations as the ones that we talked about before. But it's also a way for you to keep engaging your stakeholders into the real matters, like the real issues. This is what it looks like today. I mean, we get together every week. We talk about the things that we have collected over the week. We discuss about the subtle changes that we see beneath the reading of many of these articles and news, etc. And it starts building up to something that it's really relevant in the conversations. It's a sort of different kind of design. We believe in the importance of positioning the team at a different level of conversation. So we should be able to provide design in many different levels inside the company. But there's a but. And that is that this is like a small plant. If you don't take care of it, it's going to die. So you will find many other things to do that are more important than this, right? This is voluntarily. You just did it out of love. So it's going to die if you don't pay attention to it. So your first objective is survival. Second, you need to sell it. Because now you've been practicing, you have all these signals, you have people engaged with you in your team, happy, excited to talk about it. And now you have some knowledge. I mean, you start to understand what's going on in the world. You've been probably reading lots of reports. You've been engaging with people from other places also to understand what's going on. You are the first one to read the risks whenever you see the World Economic Forum releases the report. So you're super knowledgeable. Now you need to go and sell it, or otherwise it's going to become your best habit. So we did this, and we started going out trying to tell people inside the organization that we had this knowledge. This is not something that we're expecting from a design team, right? If you look at organizations, they have people who do foresight sitting in strategy teams, not designers. So they were not expecting this from us, right? And the way that we found so we could start preaching about what we were doing is that we could get into their events and offsites. So we just told them we had some inspirational content about trends, and everybody was eager to hear what we had to talk about, right? They already consumed these reports from many consultancies, so why not just hear out what these guys have to say? And we started doing this, getting lots of different teams at different levels in the organization engaged with the content that we were delivering, but also getting to preach a little bit about methodology. So we did some workshops, We worked on some future triangles. We had some reflections, high-level reflections, and it was going well, but ultimately what we wanted was to land some projects. We wanted to work on these beyond the trend spotting. And we landed some beautiful projects. We worked on things that we would have never gotten otherwise. Projects that were not digitally oriented or digital product oriented. So it was projects that we would probably never get if we hadn't done this. So it was interesting. We had a very nice, rich conversation, and we had to tackle some interesting challenges as well, like corporate culture, for example. But you may become an entertainer. I mean, you may become that person that everybody's going to look for because you can feel a spot in their offsite. You're going to become that person that is only giving you content. And the conversion rate from inspirational speaker to actually working together is actually very hard. So once you have been doing this for long enough and the organization knows that you are doing this, you just can stop and just start saying no. And lastly, you need to train the team, because you can start as 2 or 3 people just doing this on your own, but you need to get some support. You need to get somebody having your back. And we were incredibly lucky that the design leadership, the global design leadership, really trusted this. We have been showing value up until now, so we had already done some things, so they could believe in us. And we got to hire the best futurists in Spain to come over and teach us many different approaches, methodologies, tools, etc. So we got everybody in the team trained so they understand how to apply this futures mindset in their day-to-day. But I know and I understand that if you are going to do this in your organization, probably the hardest part is to get those resources. So maybe you can be the one to teach the team and to show them and to engage them and to let them be part of your endeavor. But lastly, and there's a +1 here, and this is where we at the moment, so I don't have any answers for this, we're trying to do this right now, is this knowledge will beautifully just sit aside the design lead if they don't know how to put it into practice on their daily work. We, in product teams, are so used to work in the now that it's really uncomfortable and difficult to bring the conversation about the future. So we need to understand how to integrate this futures mindset and these tools and these questions into the way we operate on a daily basis. Because it's intrusive, because sometimes this conversation is actually uncomfortable to have with some stakeholders, right? So this is what we're trying to solve at the moment. And lastly, I do believe that design has a role in anticipation. I don't know, I think it was John Heskett who said that design should be able to play different roles inside the organization. And one of those roles is anticipation. Anticipation is a great skill for any company today. We live in uncertain times. It's difficult to make decisions. It's hard to know the truth. Even if we learn much more information, it's not going to be easier for us to make decisions. So it's a great time to do this. And I do believe in the value that design and futures brings together to this task. It is me talking here in front of you, but it's today we've grown, and there's a lot of people just working with me trying to integrate this practice into the organizations, and I just wanted you to put a face to many of them. And I hope that you believe that it is important that we position design in a different kind of conversation within the organization. So this is me. Feel free to engage with me. I love design. Thank you for coming, and thank you everybody at home for connecting.
Thank you so much, Andrés. Let's kick it off with a remote question. Have you tried speculative design methodologies? I don't know what that is, to be super honest. So.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's really part of it. So yeah, we've gone through all the methods. We've brought people over to the organization to help us run some workshops. So yes, we've been doing that.
And would you recommend it? Was it successful for you?
Yes, I would recommend it because it gets us at a different level of reflection. So if you want to tackle a problem or a challenge like investments and how to get people engaged with investments, you could do that by following the design methods, but also you could do that by trying to provide a different way of analyzing the problem and maybe reframing the problem to a better challenge to work for. So I definitely recommend it.
Okay, great, thank you. Which questions do we have in the room? All right. But we have a lot online, so. One question was, actually you touched quite a lot upon it, but how do you extend, maybe in the beginning, the organization's horizon to look further into the future and not only to the next sprint? So maybe how do you really get it off the ground? What would be like day zero to get an initiative like this started?
I mean, the good thing today is that there are many things that feel difficult to analyze. So if we talk about AI, for example, that's a great topic to think about the future. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows what are the changes that are going to be a new normal in some years. So that uncertainty is the perfect ground for starting the conversation.
And did you start it really in your design team or more on a business level?
We did it at a design team level,
Yeah.
but we knew that we had to engage business teams. So the idea of going out and selling this content and just providing those reports was also to letting other teams know that we are doing this, that we have this knowledge, and that we can work together to tackle challenges that they have today.
And who started it? So was it like your initiative as part of the team? So you were the expert leader on this matter?
Yes, we were the
Okay,
experts,
so it was really your passion project and you
yes,
you got it
absolutely.
going.
Yes,
Amazing, amazing.
on the ground up.
That's the best.
Mm.
Everybody, give it up for Andres. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.